Our next presentation is on the Better at Home program. This program is a province-wide initiative funded by the Government of British Columbia and managed by the United Way of Lower Mainland to help seniors remain independent at home and stay connected with their community. Through this program, seniors have access to a wide range of non-medical support services delivered through local nonprofit organizations by volunteers and paid workers. The Better at Home program will be expanded to reach up to 68 communities across the province. Our presenter, Christina Rupp, is the coordinator of the Sea to Sky Better at Home program with the Sea to Sky Community Services in Squamish. Christina has been involved with various nonprofit organizations for 15 years. It began in Toronto in the 1990s, where she volunteered for the Daily Food Bank. Her desire to support and improve the lives of others has led Christina to positions with Whistler Community Services, with the Helping Hand Society as manager of the Squamish Food Bank, and currently she leads a team of volunteers to support older adults to stay active, engaged, and connected in their own communities. I welcome Christina Rupp.
Thank you to Robert and the Squamish Men's Shed for inviting me here today and for giving me the opportunity to share with you more about the Better at Home program. Robert's just given you a brief summary of what we're all about. The program is specifically for adults over the age of 65, as mandated by the United Way. We offer various services to seniors in several communities in the Sea to Sky corridor. Squamish being the main community, we have over 100 clients here, and we also have clients in Whistler and Pemberton and Mount Currie, and we've now reached an agreement to help in the communities of the Southern Statlium. We include in our services things that we can do for free, which is courtesy of many, many great volunteers in all the communities, but we also offer services that are of a little bit of a cost to seniors and elders, but everything's dependent on people's incomes. And if we find that people come to us and are very much unable to meet the requirements that we would like, then we also take that into consideration too, because we don't want to leave anybody out if they need our help. We offer light housekeeping, transportation, grocery shopping, friendly visiting, snow shoveling, yard work, and we do some minor repairs as well. And we have volunteers, contractors, and there's 3 of us as staff along the corridor who provide these services to our clients. We find that what everybody's really looking for is cleaning. That's something that as people get older becomes a little bit more challenging, bending down to clean the bathtub, or as yard work as well. That's also something that's popular in the summer, but also transportation. Transportation has, I think we all realize that it's become a little bit of an issue in the Sea to Sky corridor. There is very, very little public transportation between here and Vancouver, as well as for people in Whistler and Pemberton and Mount Currie, and we have volunteers specifically for that purpose. For a flat fee, we will offer transportation to non-medical appointments. We don't take people or pick people up from surgeries, but we will take people to their specialist appointments, drop them off at the door, and then we'll be there when they come out to bring them back, which really does make life easier for people. Driving into the city can be challenging anyway, but if you've got a health issue, that's stressful enough. Then you've got to find parking at Lionsgate Hospital or somewhere else. And so having a volunteer do that for you can really help put you at ease. So that's something that's very popular, as I said, particularly with lack of public transportation from Squamish. We have contractors in Squamish, Whistler and Pemberton who provide cleaning service for probably about 2/3 of our clients. Whistler, we only have 7 or 8 clients. Pemberton, which is a growing older community, we have 26 clients. We're definitely seeing growth within our program. The benefits to older adults in the community of our program are numerous. The reason the program started 8 years ago was because the need to support our seniors was finally recognized because of the pandemic. And it was actually seniors who first approached the provincial government to help initiate this program. And it's grown, I think we're actually, I know Robert said it was 60 something Better at Home programs in BC, but we're actually up to 81 now. They just took on, I think, about another 8 or 9 recently, including Bowen Island. That's just begun. And Southern Statlium, which we will oversee as well. So the program is growing as the population of older adults is growing as well. Although we feel that obviously we could do even more if we had more funding, but funding is just that's a separate issue. Better at Home supports seniors to age in place. That's what people want to do for as long as they can. As long as their health permits them, as long as they've got supports in place to help them do that, then that's the best place to be. And we have many, many clients in Squamish, Whistler and Pemberton who are still living in their own houses, not just smaller apartments, but in Squamish we have many ladies, widowers or widows who have found themselves still in their own home that they possibly built after 40 or 50 years, and that's where they want to stay. I mean, it's a great time to sell your house maybe, but that's not necessarily what you want to do. You want to stay there as long as you can. And so we're a big part of that through providing cleaning services, yard work, and also another part of our program which has really grown since COVID began was friendly visiting. We've always had requests for friendly visiting. It's a one-on-one connection. It's for seniors who maybe they don't have family here. Maybe they have family here, but their families are very busy. They're homebound. They're not able to get out much. So we have volunteers who specifically come to us to volunteer because they want to do that one-on-one connection. And when COVID came along, unfortunately, we had to stop in-person visits, but we had to pivot really quickly to really doing everything by telephone. I mean, it would be great to be able to involve everybody on Zoom calls or WhatsApp or all the modern technologies, but for the majority of our clients, that's not really something that they are necessarily want to do or able to do, and people like to speak to somebody in person or see somebody in person. So technology in the last 18 months has been a benefit for some, but on the other hand, it's made things a little bit more challenging. So we've had more requests from family members of clients and also from Vancouver Coastal Health, who refer clients to us to connect with people as friendly visitors. When COVID began, we delegated all our clients in the program we broke them up into groups for each volunteer, and I think they were all calling 6 or 7 people a couple of times a week, as suggested by the United Way, to stay in touch. And we did find with some people that they didn't need that kind of support, or they did have family around, or they were still able to stay in touch with friends through the phone themselves. But it really did benefit a lot of our clients to have somebody reach out to them a couple of times a week or more, just to say hello or to see if there was anything that we could help them with. We started expanding our program to helping people get library books from the library by delivering them, delivering puzzles. We even had one request from a client to find a ukulele. So the volunteer who he was talking to on the phone, she just went off for an initiative, and I can't remember where she reached out to. It was a music school, and she got him a ukulele to borrow long term so that he could learn the ukulele and have something to do while he was stuck at home. So that was really cool. So COVID has sort of led to a lot of new little initiatives developing, which we will continue to include in our program as things get better. There's a growing need for our services. Seniors and elders are very important and, as I just said, growing part of our communities, and their active involvement enriches everybody's lives, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So to ensure that older adults continue to play an active part in communities, they need the support from us to live independently in their own homes. I'd like to talk a little bit about volunteers. I think we have about 30 volunteers altogether, or maybe 35. We've actually just had a few new ones register. A lot of volunteers stopped because of COVID, because people had their own lives, they had their own concerns. But we also had new ones reach out because all of a sudden there were people who were no longer working, or things were on hold for them, so they had time on their hands. We had volunteers from the district of Squamish come to us because they were no longer working at the swimming pool. So things like that have helped. So our volunteer base has changed a little bit, and people have come and gone a little bit over the last year or so. But we have some volunteers who have been with the program since the beginning, and we've also got some volunteers who have moved with me through my positions. I was the manager of the Squamish Food Bank prior to being the coordinator for this program. And when I moved to Better at Home, I think maybe 4 or 5 of the volunteers moved with me, which I'd like to think is a testament to how happy they were at volunteering and looking for a change as well. So I want to talk about Pam. Pam is an adult student studying expressive art as therapy. And she reached out to the United Way when the pandemic began to a fund that they'd created called the Local Love Fund. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of that. You can apply for funding. It's sort of a small neighborhood grant style funding just to start up little initiatives, little projects within your community that could help people during COVID. And Pam had practicum hours to allocate for her studies, and she was thinking of some ideas that involved both seniors and youth during COVID. So she came to us as a volunteer for a different reason. We have that people volunteer for many different reasons, and in her case it was to help her with her schooling. And we often get requests for references for school, for jobs. And myself, I've been in 2 positions in my life, 2 or 3, where I started out as a volunteer and then moved into a paid position. So there are all sorts of reasons for volunteering. Pam came up with this idea. It was a pen pal program, exchanging letters and cards between school children at the middle school in Squamish and clients so they could share stories. And Pam had connections with the school, and with funding from the United Way, Local Love Fund, she was able to put this project together. And our program, Better at Home, was able to connect the students and our clients by first name only for confidentiality, and mail the letters to the clients. This was such a successful initiative for all sorts of reasons. People don't get letters in the mail like they used to. We get bills. We don't get interesting things to open up. So to receive a handwritten letter from a student just asking off-the-cuff questions about their life or pictures or puzzles, they were very creative, the students, was very exciting for a lot of our clients. And many of them responded as well with letters back, but some people were just quite happy to receive the letters. Writing a letter back wasn't necessarily something everybody wanted to do or were able to do. It started before Christmas and then also Valentine's and Easter. So a lot of the same student, same client, and a lot of these relationships are continuing, and I know of 1 or 2 clients who are actually meeting their pen pals in person now, or they're connecting by email, or they're on the phone with them. So it was quite a beautiful thing to see come together. It was a very clever idea. It's something that, I mean, pen pals have been around for years, but I don't think it's something that's really happening as much. I think for the students too, it was a big learning process because many of them have never actually written an address on a letter before, or maybe even written a letter, or knew where to put the stamp. So I received all the stamped envelopes with the letters and cards inside, but it was interesting, like the stamps were sometimes in the strangest of places because they didn't know where to put them. So they certainly got guidance from their teacher, but it was interesting to see that, I mean, these are children who've grown up with modern technology and handwriting, and yes, it's just not what it used to be when we were all in school, for sure. So it was a learning experience for them too. And also seniors have such interesting stories to tell about their lives and experiences. service to their country as well, and also talking about how they managed that without the technology as well. So teenagers today find it hard to believe that, you know, there was a time before the internet, there was a time before a mobile phone, and your phone was attached to the wall. And you could only be on it for a little bit before you were chased off the phone because it cost money. So things have changed a lot. So Pam has now completed her time with this endeavor. She's left it in good shape, but we're hoping to repeat this project maybe next year as well. And we have another volunteer, Jim. Jim has been with me through the food bank years and also now at Better at Home. After retiring, he didn't have much going on. He had few hobbies. He'd been working long hours, a long career, didn't have much of a social life, relationships, really. So all of a sudden he went from being go, go, go to not knowing what to do. So that was a great opportunity. He came to us through a volunteer who introduced him to us. And he was just such an asset to our program. He helps us with transportation, yard work, minor repairs. And he does all this because he has the time, and it's a great way to support him too and to make him feel appreciated. He doesn't want to work for money. He wants to give back to the community and he wants to get involved with the community. And now his social life and things have changed very much for him through volunteering. He's made a lot of connections through our clients, but also through other volunteers as well. So that's, I consider Jim a great success story. He's very happy continuing to volunteer for us. It gives me a tremendous sense of satisfaction to see those success stories. I've been a volunteer myself many times. I love to look after volunteers as well. I think it's very important when you have volunteers that it's an unpaid job, but people are there out of choice, and it's very important that you show your appreciation for your volunteers. And a part of that is because you obviously want to retain your volunteers for as long as possible while they're able to give their time to you. So it's very important to recognize their importance. We have, yes, I think I said maybe about 35 volunteers, 4 contractors right now and a staff of 3. It's a great program. It's a great place to volunteer. It's a great way for a senior to receive supports that can help them remain in their own homes as long as possible. Yes, and I thank you for that. And if you have any questions.
Christina, you've talked about some of the new programs that you've introduced recently, but I'd like to ask you about what programs you're thinking about or you would like to see in the future. What are the needs that you perceive but are not able to meet yet? I think that's a good way to start looking forward.
I think part of that is definitely doing more of the same, just to begin with. And it's all based around funding. Nonprofits rely on funding for their programs from the province of BC or from the Squamish Community Foundation or other foundations or from the United Way. I think if we could receive more funding, we would certainly be able to support people more often. Right now, for example, we're offering cleaning on a once-a-month basis, which is actually amazing what a cleaner can do in a once-a-month appointment, but there are a lot of gaps. We can only do so much through our program for seniors, and we feel there certainly are some gaps. Although we are mandated only to do the things that we can do, partly because we have a large volunteer base and we can only ask them to do so much. One new initiative I forgot to mention, well, I guess it's an initiative. One of our volunteers wanted to start doing telephone bingo. So we have started, maybe about 8 of our clients now once a week get together with our volunteer Tara on the phone. She has I'm not sure what it's called, but like a community line, and everybody calls in and they play bingo once a week. So it is quite amazing the things that have come out of the woodwork in the last year or so because of the not being able to meet in person. That's just a small part of what we could do online or over a phone. I would like to see us expand to more social, more groups getting together. I mean, fingers crossed we won't be in the situation again where people are stuck in their own homes, but it's good to plan ahead. And also there are many communities who are very rural. Clients out along in South Statlium, which is, I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but it's the Lillooet Lake Road. It's the First Nations communities along the Lillooet Road. They're very cut off, very remote. So if we can pivot and do something a little bit different with the programming we have, then we will do that.
Has the need for services to older adults grown since the program began?
Absolutely. So we've been, our program in the Sea Sky has been here 8 years, which I think is as long as Better at Home has been in BC. So we grew from one contractor, a few clients, and now we're over 100 clients in Squamish. The awareness of the program has grown so much more in the last year or so because the needs of seniors has been at the forefront, which is very good. But yeah, the need is growing, particularly in Squamish and Pemberton. We have an aging population, and the requests for our services continue to grow, particularly with transportation. And yes, client referrals from concerned family members. Many of our seniors have family who might be as far away as Australia. So, or Europe, or a different province, or even if it's out in Aldergrove or Coquitlam, it's still just a little bit too far, and we're there to help them, make it a little bit easier for them so they're not worrying about their parent or their parents.
We've all been impacted by the pandemic, and I wonder if you just sum up some of the lessons learned by that experience and what you're going to bring into the future because of it. And the other thing I was wondering, have you got anything going with intergenerational work, like with moms and children and grandparents and, with the seniors?
We, apart from the project that I was just talking about, the school project, that's the only thing we have in our Better at Home program going right now, yes. And COVID's made getting together with different generations tricky as it is, and we've had many senior clients who have not even seen their grandchildren for a very long time. And it would be good to expand into that area. We're always limited by time and funds, and we all work part-time, and we're also limited by if we don't have enough volunteers to help us with things. So, but yeah, that is something that would be good. I think that's very important to mix the generations up. We could tell from the students who were writing the cards at school that they really hadn't. Some of them for sure would have contact with their grandparents or great-grandparents, but for a lot of them this was quite a new experience, connecting with someone who had possibly still has stories to tell from the Second World War. So I'm sorry, the first part of your question again.
It's more or less with your experience of the pandemic, there was any lessons learned because of the isolation, and where you're going to go from here?
I think we've learned that we really need to we need to be connected much more than we were before with all older adults, for sure. And the communication is very important, and to realize that they're not necessarily going to reach out to help to us, so we need to reach out to help them.
Right, good one. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Thank you for your description of what Better at Home is. But I was wondering, could you be a little bit more specific as to which services would be provided by a volunteer versus what services are provided by a paid member?
For sure. We hire contractors. We have 2 in Squamish. One of those contractors also covers Whistler, and then we have a contractor in Pemberton, and they're all cleaners. They are cleaning for us part-time because they're their own companies, and they contract to us maybe 1, 2, 3 days a week. Then the rest of the week is their own to work. We always have the same contractor with the same client. We don't switch it up. Its continuity is very important. So some people have had the same person visit their house once a month for several years. They built a relationship with them. So we like that. And so we're very picky about who we hire as contractors because we want them to be we want them to fit. We want them to be able to fit with our clientele. So the volunteers we have are for transportation, although we do offer an honorarium to the volunteer to cover gas and mileage, wear and tear on their vehicle. It depends where you are. If you're taking someone from Squamish to Vancouver to an appointment, we would give you $80. If you're in Pemberton and you're bringing someone down to Vancouver, I think it's $120. So there's it depends what area you're in. And yard work as well is done by volunteers. So there is no, the volunteers are strictly doing that out of pleasure because they like gardening. And we do snow plowing in the winter as well, and we do have a contractor for that. So that's not something we would let volunteers do because we don't want anybody to put their back out. So we try and avoid giving our volunteers jobs that would in any way would be difficult for them. So
I have a question about kind of the integration with the community. So Better at Home is for non-medical needs.
yes.
Are there referrals from medical professionals or hospitals, for example, like if somebody's going to surgery and they're going to be home for a month, they'll need some supports, and other programs within Sea to Sky Community Services and United Way. Do you collaborate?
We do, yes, we do collaborate quite a bit. Probably our number one collaboration is with Vancouver Coastal Health in all the communities. We receive many referrals for clients, long-term referrals, or for, like you said, if they've come out of hospital and maybe they need a little bit of extra care. But there's only so much we can offer. So Vancouver Coastal Health do have other programs like home care that they can offer to clients as well. We do get requests for transportation to surgery and back, but unfortunately that's something that's a little bit out of our league. It's just because the surgery could be complicated. That's just a bit of a worry. We've been collaborating with many service groups in Squamish through other ways, through our Lunch and Learn program, through the Men's Shed, Squamish Men's Shed. We used to, pre-COVID, support the Health by Stealth series of presentations at the 55 Centre in Squamish. And we're hoping that, that will regain some momentum eventually, I hope. But so we are very connected with the Manor and the Cedars in Squamish, which is seniors housing. So we have many clients in there, but we're able to offer programming in there as well.
Why do you think that the Better at Home program is a good topic for the Men's Shed video series?
From what I know of the Men's Shed, the older adults are a big part of the Men's Shed, and so I think we're reaching an audience that could benefit from our services directly, or may know of somebody who may benefit from our services. And I think the Men's Shed is a great way for us also to spread the word about our programming as well, because the more we are all connected and collaborate in our communities, the more information we're going to be able to share with one another.
Christina, thank you so much for coming and making time meeting with us. And you did it in such a friendly and personal way. And we sure looking forward to now being able to share that information we gained from you in the larger community. And a token of appreciation is a certificate from our organization, Squamish Men's Shed.
Thank you.
Also, a little gift from
Delicious.
Pride of Squamish, the Choco
Local chocolate.
makers, handmade chocolates. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you.